Hello and good day, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this video. I'm Nitai, or Neil Nitai Hamari, and this is my latest book, and it's available on Amazon Books in paperback or as a Kindle book to read. And you can't see very well here with the light I have, the image on the front of the book, but basically the name of the book is Riding Backwards Down the Gila, referring to the Gila River, Gila, pronounced Gila, which flows from the Gila Wilderness in New Mexico down through Arizona and joins the whatever that big river is that flows between Winter Haven and Yuma, Arizona. And this book is about a trip with me and Tiger Lily, this beautiful Appaloosa mare. In 1994, we made this horseback ride from the coast to the Continental Divide. And this book is from my actual journal that I carried in my saddlebags and worked on every day. And I did not use a camera. I drew pictures illustrating what had happened. For example, hopefully you can see this. There's a picture of me leading Tiger Lily up a cliff, a path carved in the cliff of the Mormon Battalion Trail in Southern California, just before you got to the Colorado River. And there's another one outside of Temecula. Beautiful clouds in the sky, and there we are camped in the playa, or a little dried lake. Beautiful place. There's many illustrations that show how I was able to let the horse feed herself on a picket strap, grazing as much as she wanted to every day, at least half the day or night. She could eat all she wanted. We always camped where there was grass and water. And you know, the funny thing is, on this trip, we were headed east from the coast. We started in Temecula, California, which is a big horse center, and we were dropped off there just to start our ride going to the east. At the time, I thought I might ride all the way across America and even across Europe and get to India, but I knew that is the kind of a trip that might take a lot more planning than what I had done. So at least for me, as a compromise, I decided at least I'll go as far as the Continental Divide, which is the spiritual center of America, where all the rainwater that lands on the west side flows to the Pacific, and that lands on the east side will flow to the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean. And so climbing from California up to that top is about, in a car, it might be 800 something miles. The way we went, it was about 1,200 miles altogether. 1,050 is the very conservative to get to the Continental Divide, but in retrospect, looking carefully at all the side trips that Tiger Lily and I took, it's quite possible 1,200 miles would be the fair estimate of the distance we traveled. And I had gone on other trips with Tiger Lily. I'd ridden down the California's Salmon River from Sawyer's Bar, where I was stationed as a wildland firefighter, down to the Hoopa Reservation, down the Klamath River, and I'd ridden along the coast in the Eureka area. And of course, Tiger Lily came into our lives in Yreka, California. That's where she was owned by and being trained by endurance rider. Anyway, so we started this ride, and I wrote down everything in the book. I never carried a camera. In those days, it was film cameras, 1994, And you know, a drawing, you don't have to go to a photographer and develop it. You don't have to go to a Photoshop and see what comes out. You know when you draw what you're showing because you're there. And like here's another drawing somewhere in Arizona, and we're at the side of the road sketching. Well, the big saguaro cactuses. There we go. That's a little bit better. So there we are by some saguaro cacti in Arizona. And you can see that horse is munching away. We had a bunch of interesting events, like, for example, if you could see here, we're in a tunnel under the freeway because we had to get to the other side, and all the entrances to go on the underpasses were blocked by cattle guards. Normally a cattle guard in the West has a gate on both sides so that you can take stock that has gotten onto the freeway right away out at the cattle guard, but in these places there was nothing. So we had to find something that she could walk across to get across the cattle guard. So there we are. I mean, does she trust me? And the one thing in this book, you'll see that Tiger Lily, she's an Appaloosa mare and very well trained, and she took very good care of me. She taught me a lot about being a good horseman. But she also learned to trust me because I never put her in a dangerous situation. I always made sure that she was safe and that her hoofs were cleaned, that her hair was brushed, and she never had a saddle sore in this 3-month trip. And when she arrived in, I think it was in Glenwood, New Mexico, a famous rancher there who ran, at that time, a gas station and a restaurant. He came out to see me and the horse, and it was lunch. I'd stopped for lunch, and so I took the saddle off the horse and the saddle blanket and brushed her, had her tied to a post. I took off her bit and bridle, and she was tied with her halter so she could eat some of the wild grass that was growing there. And the rancher came out, and he asked me where I was going, what I was doing. I said, well, I just rode from the coast, and I'm going to the Continental Divide. I'm almost there. And he said, I've never seen a horse after such a long ride in such perfect condition. And that was amazing to me, because he said he sees covered wagons, long riders, stagecoaches, people with donkey carts. All kinds of people are traveling right now across the West, and they always have. You just don't hear about them unless you make an inquiry. And this lifestyle is still available. But he said, I never saw any horse after such a long trip that was in such good condition. In fact, at that point, there was a tiny crack starting on one of her hooves, and I didn't want to spread. So you put a little notch across the top of where the crack is forming, and then I epoxied on a dime, a little silver dime, on that crack to let me know if it was moving at all. Because if it did, I would stop riding her. And then, but within just a couple days, we were at our destination at the Continental Divide, going into Silver City. And so then I was able to put her out to pasture for a few months while I took a trip to Europe and visited relatives and celebrated my father's participation in the D-Day invasion, which was, I don't know, at that point, 94, that would have been, anyway, 50 years later, the 50th anniversary of D-Day, I think it was, yeah, 50th anniversary. So that's what this book is about. I think you're going to enjoy it, and I hope you're going to buy it. I am going to be putting a series of readings on my YouTube channel, Nitai Hamari, and I invite you to watch that. And I hope you really enjoy this book. Amazon's been really good to me publishing this book and promoting it. So take care, everybody. Have a good evening.